Hello students, I hope you all are safe in your home. So today I will discuss with you Geography Lesson 1 Resources. Now students, what do you understand by resources? Resources means think anything that can be used to satisfy a need is a resources. Like for example, you look around you and observe, you will be able to identify many types of resources. For example, the water you drink when you are thirsty, the electricity you use in your house, or see outside many vegetables wala. Nowadays they came in our home to sell their vegetables that are also resources. So each and everything which we are using in our daily life, related to our daily life, is called resources. Now see the pen. This pen is also resource. This copy, textbook, these all are resources. Understand? So every living being's object, service that has some utility is known as resources. Like an example, see, we already saw books, furniture, human, animals are resources. Now, what is utility? What do you understand by utility? Utility, what makes an object or substances a resource, is called utility. And that things become resources only when they have a value. Its use or usability gives it value. All resources have some value. Now students, what is value, or what do you understand by value? Value means worth. Some resources have economical value, some may not. Take an example like metals. Metals may have economical value because each and everything which we are using for support. For example, table. In upside it's made with wood and down we need metals. So that is economical value. Like beautiful landscape may not. Understand how? Because see, we are going to visit for our entertainment. So it may not be a economical value. But both are important and satisfy human needs. Some resources can become economically valuable with time. Like your grandmother's home remedies. They are commercial value today. But if they are patent and sold by the medical farms tomorrow, then could become a economical value. So in that line I said one word, that is patent. What is the meaning of patent? It means the exclusive right over any idea or invention is called patent. Now we learn about types of resources. Before we discuss about time and technology. See, time and technology are two important factors that can be changed substances into resources. Both are interrelated to the needs of people. People themselves are also human resources. So it is their ideas, knowledge, inventions and discoveries that lead to the creation of more resources. So time and technology is also important. Now we learn types of resources because resources are depend on time and technology. Now types of resources are broadly categorized into three parts: natural resource, human made resource and human resource. Now what is natural resources? See, natural resources also classified. So we see the flow chart. See this flow chart. types of resources. Now, natural resources are divided into 4 categories. First, level of development and use. According to this, actual resource and potential resource. Second, origin. Origin also divided into 2 parts, abiotic and biotic. Third, stock. Stock, on the basis of stock, also classified into 2 parts, renewable and non-renewable. See, it is important because it is broad classification of natural resource. And then distribution. According to distribution, ubiquitous and localized. Understand this? Natural resources. Now, in deeply we learn about natural resources. Now, what is natural resources? Resources that are drawn from nature and used without much modification are called natural resources. For example, air, water, land, etc. See, in our environment we see which is naturally, like plants are also natural resources. Okay, so that resources are also classified into these 4 categories. So classification into different groups depending upon their level of development, origin, stock and distribution, and broadly classified into renewable and non-renewable. So now before we discuss about the types of resource, that is natural resource, so first we learn about what is natural resource. Resources, we learn that they are drawn from the nature and used without much modification. Okay, and we also learn about the different types of example. Natural resources are classified into different groups also we learn. Now in that, first is level of development. First actual and then potential. Now what is actual resource? Actual resource means are those resources whose quantity is known. These resources are being used in present. Okay, for example, coal, dark black soil. Now the rich deposits of coal in Ruhr region of Germany, okay, and petroleum in West Asia. The dark soil of Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra. These are all the example of natural actual resources. Then potential resources. Potential resources are those whose entire quantity may not be known and these are not being used at present. These resources could be used in the future. The level of technology we have at present may not be advanced enough to easily utilize these resources. Like for example, uranium and wind. Okay, see, that uranium found in Ladakh is an example of potential resource that could be used in the future. And wind, high-speed winds were a potential resource 200 years ago. Today, they are an actual resource. And wind farms generate energy using windmills like in Netherlands. You will find some example in our country also, like Nagarcoil in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat coast. Now students, second one on the basis of origin. Origin means that is abiotic and biotic. Abiotic means the resource that can be non-living and biotic means the resource that are living. Like for example, non-living, soil, rocks and minerals. And living things, plants, animals and human beings. Third, on the basis of stock. This is very important. Renewable and non-renewable resources. Now what is renewable resources? See, in natural resources, it can be broadly categorized: renewable and non-renewable. So renewable resources are those which get renewed or replenished quickly. Some of these are unlimited and are not affected by human activities, such as solar and wind energy. So other example also, like water, soil and forest can be affected their stock. Okay, like an example, water seems to be an unlimited renewable resource, but shortage and dying up of natural water resources is a major problem in many parts of the world. Okay, this is the problem of today's mostly we are facing now. That's why we are having some slogans also. We are making some posters related to water, safe water. Okay, and government also making lot of schemes for safe water or natural resources, because of it is now limited. That's why. Now non-renewable resources are those which have limit stock. Once the stock are exhausted, it maybe takes thousands of years to be renewed or replenished. Since this period is much more than human lifespans, such resources are considered non-renewable. For example, coal, petroleum and natural gas. Now fourth one, on the basis of distribution. On the basis of distribution, they are also divided into two categories: ubiquitous and localized. Resources that are found everywhere, like the air we breathe, are ubiquitous. But those which are found only in certain place are called localized, like copper, iron, coal, petroleum, etc. The distribution of natural resources depends upon number of physical factors like terrain, climate, altitude. So the distribution of resources is unequally because the factors differ so much over the earth. Somewhere it depends on climate, okay, and somewhere it's altitude. This is important because it is unequally distributed. That's why natural resources also important. Now our second category in resource, that is human made resources. Now students, we learn about natural resources. Natural resources which we are getting from the nature, but it's categorized in different distribution on the basis of different distribution. Okay, so now we learn about human made resources. Sometimes natural substances become resources only when their origin form has been changed. So who will change that origin form? Human. Like iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. People use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machineries and vehicles, which are known as human made resources. And technology is also a human made resource. So people like us use natural resources to make human made resources. And then third one, human resources. Now human made resources means with the natural resources, human develop that resource. Okay, that origin form has been changed by the human. That is human made resources. For example, table, chair, book, pen. We are making that one. That is called human made resources. And here we see the more example, that is buildings, roads, vehicles and technology. Now, what is human resources? People can make their best use of nature to create more resources when they have the knowledge, skill and technology to do so. That is why human beings are also a special resource. See, human means we. We are also a human. So, when we are having knowledge, skill and technology, then we can easily change natural substances, okay, means we can easily change the origin and then origin of that particular substances, and then we make as a new form, that is called human resource, because they are using with their knowledge, technology and skill. So we are also a special resource. People are human resources. Education and health help in making people a valuable. So how we are getting knowledge, skill, okay, and technology? Because education and health plays an important role in our life. Okay, so it is valuable resource. Improving the quality of people skill so that they are able to create more resources is known as human resource development. Now, conserving resources means how we conserve our resource. Using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Balancing the needs to use resources and also conserve them for a future is called sustainable resources or sustainable development. There are many ways to conserving resources. Each person can contribute by reducing consumptions, recycling and reusing things. Ultimately, it makes a difference because all our lives are linked. So how we will conserving resources? By using three forms, that is reducing, recycling and reusing. That is important. Understand? Then we can easily conserve all the resources. Now students, our duty to ensure that. So how you are going to help to conserving resource? What's our duty? The future of our planet and its people is linked with our ability to maintain the preserve the life support system that nature provides. Therefore, we have some duties to ensure that. First one, all uses of renewable resources and sustainable. Second, diversity of life on the earth is conserved. Third, the damage of natural environmental system is minimized. Then we can easily make a better planet. Okay. Now in that some principles also we are having. So it is based on sustainable development. First, respect and care of all forms of life. Improve the quality of human life. Conserve the earth's vitality and diversity. Vitality and diversity. Minimize the depletion of natural resources. Change personal attitude and practice towards the environment. Enable communities to care of their own environment. So students, I hope you understand this chapter. So let's recap. So you will understand. So in this chapter we learn about resources. Resources means every living being's object, service that has some utility to known as resources. For example, books, furniture, human, animals, etc. Then utility. What makes an object or substances a resource? Value. Value means worth, or it depends on time and technology. Now types of resources: natural, human made and human resources. Natural resources, level of development and use, actual and potential. Second, origin, biotic and abiotic. Third, distribution, on the basis of distribution, ubiquitous and localized. And fourth, on the basis of stock, that is renewable and non-renewable. We already see this flow chart also. Okay. Now, natural resources, drawn from nature and used without much modification. Example, air, water, land, and etc. Classified into different groups depending upon their level of development, origin, stock, and distribution, and broadly categorized into renewable and non-renewable. Then human-made resources. People means as a people, those resources which have been created by humans. Example, buildings, roads, vehicles, and technology. Human resources, population with knowledge, skill, and technology is human resources. Example, farmers, doctors, teachers, etc. Then, how to conserve our resources? Using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Sustainable development, balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future. Okay, and what's our duty to ensure that all use of renewable resources and sustainable. The diversity of life on the earth is conserved. The damage of natural environment system is minimized. Okay, and we learn about some principles also. That principles of sustainable development: respect and care all forms of life, improve the quality of human life, conserve the earth's vitality and diversity, minimize the depletion of natural resources, change personal attitude and practice towards the environment, enable communities to care of their own environment. These are the basic principles. So I hope you all understand this chapter. So this is the basic concept of resources. In first chapter we learn about only resources and types of resources. Now in this book, means in this class, you learn about only different types of resources. Okay, so we learn in first chapter the basic concept of resource, and then after in second chapter we learn land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. So I hope you all understand. So students, take care, be safe in your home. Thank you.